So a very good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's a privilege for us, especially for me, uh, you know, to to be here with such a eclectic group of brilliant minds. I hope I'm able to share something useful to you, and at the same time, I'm also able to learn something from you all, right? Okay, so a quick introduction about who I am. I am Manish Gurnani, Chief Technology Officer at Ksolves India Limited. We are a almost now 13-year-old company based out of India. We have an office in San Jose. We are a strong group of 600 plus developers, architects, engineers. We are a listed company, publicly listed company. We are listed on both the major stock exchanges of India, the NSE as well as the BSE. And we focus primarily around four principal verticals. One is our AI/ML. We have a center of excellence where we do all AI, Gen AI stuff. We work with big data, and it means big data on cloud, big data on-prem. It could be any vendor platform such as Snowflake, Databricks, right? We also contribute to the source code of some of the big data technologies, for example, Kafka, Cassandra, NiFi, right? We are probably the only company of our size which is able to do that. So big deal, it's a big achievement for us. Then the third vertical that we have is around Salesforce. We are a Salesforce Summit partner, which is the topmost certification for any Salesforce company. And the last division that we have is around enterprise technology, where we do all your ERPs, your bespoke custom development, could be web, could be mobile, right? All right. So that's about me. Now, the topic of today. So we have been working with big data for almost a decade now, right? We have realized that we work with a lot of enterprise vendor platforms also. We have implemented them for our customers. We have helped them monitor and support it today. At the same time, we also do a lot of open source OSS based integration for our customers, right? So that's where this led to this topic, right? So when we talk about big data today, right, data governance is a key part of it. And when we talk about enterprises, we need some way of ensuring that the data, the organization has a robust and a very strong policy around data governance, right? But the challenge that comes is when you talk about enterprise-related data governance, you need to have maybe you could say a vendor proprietary platform, and they don't come cheap, right? And then as your data flows or your jobs grow, data jobs grow, you need to put in more money. You need to have more hands to manage that entire platform, right? So the idea was, can this be sort of optimized in a way that you get the same features, but at a lower, almost 1/10, I would say, of that price, right? So the idea behind that is, how do we do that? So in summary, it can be achieved by using certain open source technologies. In fact, the vendor platforms which are out there, they also use those open source platforms only as a building block. They have just maybe some of them added their own customizations so that you have a nice let's say a user-friendly GUI to drive that, and plus they may have added some more features, which out of those, let's say 100 features, organizations may be using only 20 of them, but they are still paying for the remaining 80. Right? They may not be even using them, but because it comes as a part of the platform, so you have to take it. So that's where the cost optimization comes in, cost efficiencies come in, and I'll try to take you through that. How can we help on that? Okay. So with that set as the background, like I mentioned, right, some key challenges when we talk about these proprietary big data vendor platforms, right? And I'm talking specifically about data governance, right? So number one, there is definitely cost involved. There is a significant amount of cost involved. There's licensing, then there is you have to pay a support fees, right? Then you have to, if there's a new version, you may have to pay cost for upgrades also, right? And then on top of that, if you need some support, some professional services, you have to pay extra for that, right? Second aspect is about vendor lock-in. So if you're using any of those specific platforms, you are tied to that vendor, even though there may be some other technology which is better out there, but you still cannot use it because you have tied to that vendor's platform, right? You cannot, customize even though you may have the skill sets. For example, one of our customers, right, they have their own Apache NiFi team, right, but they were using a vendor-specific platform which is using a customized version of Apache NiFi. So even though they have their own team, they have their own expertise, because the platform itself is customized, they cannot use that expertise. So they are limited in the way that they can leverage that platform, right? Then last is scalability and performance. This is more tight when you have some platforms cannot scale at enterprise level. They are limited, and then sometimes you may have specific requirements which that platform may not be able to cater. So then what do? You are still tied because you are tied to that platform. Yeah. Okay, so how do we solve out of this, right? So the idea is that if we talk about data governance, there are open source technology stacks which can give you the same leverage, the same feature, the same functionality, although not so in a refined way. You may have to tweak it, maybe you have to build something on top of it, but it will come at a very significantly lower cost, right? So if you talk about data governance, I've categorized this into the I would say the categories of data governance. So if you talk about metadata management, there is open metadata, Embedding, Apache Atlas. All these are open source, right? And they can help you when you are talking about specifically metadata management, right? Similarly, if you talk about data lineage, you have DBT. Now DBT is also a vendor, right? But DBT core, the engine, right? That is open source. So you can use that DBT core engine. It's to do what you are getting in terms of I would say your data quality, right? Data lineage, spline, marquees, right? Marquees, by the way, is again a very we have seen it work beautifully for some of our clients. We talk about when we talk about data quality. So data quality essentially is like your data checks, right? When you are receiving data across different systems, your data is stored across different systems. You need to ensure that there is the quality that is being maintained. Are columns nullable? Are the columns, you can have your rules defined which will test that data. Those checks can be done via data. Those checks come under the purview of data quality. Great Expectations is one such framework which can help you build those rules and execute those rules against your data. So you know that your data, before it is being used, let's say by your other systems, right, it is of good quality. If, for example, if you are using it for analytics, right, you need to be sure that your columns are maybe within they have the what do you call the matrix for those columns. For example, median, the lowest value, the largest value, right? Are they within that? What was expected? So you can have those tests written in using Great Expectations, and it will validate that those columns are passing those tests. SODA again, then another very important aspect from data governance is your access control. Who can access these data which is stored in these data sources, right? You have again Apache Ranger, or even Open Policy Agent, which can help you create those policies, and then users, when they will be accessing the data, they will be matched against those policies. So as per those policies, only the users who have the right access, who have the right permissions, they will be able to access only the relevant data sets. So you may have, let's say, your finance data set, you may have your sales data set, you may have your invoice data set, right? But you don't want your maybe finance team to looking at your sales, sales data set, right? How do you control that? So all those policies can be covered and can be governed via your access control. Over here, Apache Ranger can do that. And then catalog and discovery. So you have, like I said, right, you may have your different data sets, but are they discoverable? Does one team know which data sets are available for me to use? Does your finance team know that there is, let's say maybe a inventory data set that can help them predict the future, maybe future requirements, right? The future cash flows, right? Similarly, does maybe your sales teams know that there are other data which are available? And if they are available, how do we sort of access them? So all of that cataloging can be done, using open source technologies like MetaCat, Data Hub, right? These are again, technologies which are built by, I would say, Fortune 500 companies, right? Some of them are built by Netflix, some of them built by LinkedIn, and they have open sourced them. So these are themselves being used by those organizations also. At the same time, they have been open source. So all these technologies which are listed over here, they are in a way robust and tested and tried. Like I said, the only difference is they are individually, they are not coming packaged together in one platform. So there may be some customization, some stitching which will be required on top of that. Okay, so this gives idea about what options are there available. Now, how do you sort of leverage all of this together to build open source, your own data governance system, right? So the cost saving strategy behind this is you have to adopt to one of those stacks. So maybe you don't sort of pick the whole, the whole, all of them together, right? Maybe you are looking only for, let's say, catalog management, right? So you only pick up that specific category and you implement that, right? This way, you only, in a way, you are paying for the technology that you need. You are not paying for what you do not need right now, right? And since this is open source, there is no license cost also. So you can play around with it, have your developers be trained around it, right? Have them be, so they once the developers, when the team start getting confidence, then you can start implementing it in a formal way, right? And this way you can pick and choose which one of those you want, and then have them adopted slowly across. Okay. Second is, leveraging cloud native deployment. Now, why this helps is because it is easier to scale on cloud. Then cloud also has, I would say, easier to set up these systems on cloud. You can definitely do this on premises also, but you will need a very strong and very highly skilled DevOps team, right? Then third is build governance into your CI/CD pipelines itself. So that's again very useful. When you are pushing data into your different systems, right? Once the data is pushed and then you realize there's some issue, right? You have to backtrack, you have to identify where that fault came in, right? Maybe it was someone, some SQL query went wrong, right? But fixing that later at a later stage becomes very, very challenging, right? So if you have CI/CD pipeline and you have built your data quality checks within that CI/CD pipeline itself, your data governance checks within that itself, so you avoid that risk. And these are, like, again, very simple steps. You have your data quality tools tied to your pipeline. You have your catalogs tied to your pipeline. So any change that happens through that, when, let's say, whenever you are pushing data to your data source through that pipeline, when it will execute, it will sort of use those components and it will give you results. And based on those results, you can decide whether do you actually want to store this data finally into your golden source or not. Okay. Then obviously, like I said, right, all of this will require certain amount of stitching because these are individual components and you need some expertise. One person may not have all of that expertise, so you need to work with a partner who has all of this, right? And that's actually where we come in, because we are working with all of these technologies for long. We understand each of these very well. Okay. But at the same time, there are certain key trade-offs when you are switching to these things, right? Number one is, like I said, right, you need expertise. So one person may not have that. You may need to look at either build your own team or look at a partner who can bring that to you, right? Second is there's an integration overhead, because this is like not one platform, right? So you need stitching across these platforms. Let's say you pick up catalog management via MetaCat, right? You may pick up Spline for your data lineage, right? So then they all need to be integrated also together, right? Then because it's an enterprise, right? You will need some support. You will need to be bound by those SLAs. Who does that, right? So you have to figure out, maybe if you have a partner, can they give you that guarantee that that those SLAs will be met, right? And then finally, change management. This is again more people oriented because you need to sort of train your team to start shifting to those systems, right? People are more accustomed to using their own native workflows, right? And they would be there's always some resistance, some friction might come, but slowly with training and once you start showing the benefits of that, people they start adopting to that. It takes time, but it's doable. All right. Okay. So like I said, we can help on all of these because we have been working with these technologies for quite a long, almost a decade. We contribute to some of the source code of these, so we understand many of them very well. Then, we have a full-fledged, 24/7 support also available. We have teams which, which can work within your SLAs. We provide a toll-free number. We provide, different integrations. Could be Slack, could be MS Teams, whatever you may need, right? And not just the open source, but we work with, like I said, right, couple of other technologies also. So could be, let's say, AI. You need something in Salesforce, right? So not only just this gamut, but if you need any development outside of these technologies, we are there to help. Okay. I just mentioned about this, right? What we provide as support service. So when we sort of integrate these things, we help in setting up the platform. We help in setting up the your systems. We help in securing those systems with proper rollback, RBAC roles and permissions. We will help you set up the tool that you will need. So maybe, like I said, right, one of those categories, one tool, second category, maybe some other tool, right? And maybe you start with only one small part of it. We help you, achieve that. We help you give that complete roadmap, right? And then there's monitoring as well as, in the last, yes, in case over time, right, people also, the organization also want that their own teams should also be trained so that they can work without us, without much handling from us, right? So we do that also. Once we have set the system up, right, we train the people and we help the organization themselves ramp up, so they don't have a tight dependency onto us. All right. So some use cases, right, where where these can be done in, let's say, isolation, right? One, like I said, one technology for one component, right? So this is for Apache NiFi. In case, if you don't know what is Apache NiFi, anybody knows what is Apache NiFi, by the way? Anyone? Okay. So Apache NiFi was originally built by NSA, and then it was later open sourced. It is a low-code, no-code environment which helps to build your own ETL pipelines. So it's open source, robust technology, tested and tried, being used by almost all of Fortune 500 clients in one way or the other, right? It's very simple when you want to move data from one system to another system, doing transformation, routing, all of that. It provides a nice GUI, nice drag and drop features, right? But like I said, it's open source, so it doesn't come with all the bells and whistles. The enterprise grade features, you need to work around them. But if you are using that, let's say, then how do you bring data governance into that? So we built actually a product around it. We call it the Data Flow Manager, DFM. That takes care of all the enterprise features that you will need when you're working with Apache NiFi, right? There's no other, in fact, tool which does that so seamlessly and so easily, right? Second use case is, let's say, if you're using Kafka. Anybody heard about Kafka? Yeah, so Kafka is like a streaming platform. You can ingest data in real time using that, right? When you are talking about Kafka, there's a challenge of access control and audits, right? So how do you if you are not using enterprise vendor platform, you only want to, let's say, govern your Kafka systems. How do you do that? So we implemented Apache Ranger, and with Apache Ranger, you will control which topic, which stream goes to which which user or which consumer, and through that you can have your what do you call the security implemented, right? Okay. Third case is, again, I'm sure you must have heard about Spark, Apache Spark, right? When you talk about Apache Spark, when the major challenge comes is when Spark has modifying your data in different, let's say, at different levels, right, at different stages, right? If you want to store if you want to view your data lineage. So data lineage essentially is about how my data has changed over time. So originally raw data was, let's say, maybe version A, right? And then over time, maybe some other update has come. Then maybe some other system, some other processor again updated that. So those are updates which are flowing to that data. You want to see those history, that lineage, right? How do you validate that? That it becomes very useful when you are, let's say, you are using that data in some analytics for some analytics, and you see that data is giving some wrong results. So the challenge is this data itself correct? Is this data itself wrong? How does data come to this stage? To identify that stage, you have to go through data lineage, how that data has come from original to this version. So identifying that data lineage is very challenging when you are using Spark. So there are tools again for that. So we have this. So Open Lineage is the standard which governs all of this, and Marquis is a product which has been built on top of Open Lineage, which implements Open Lineage to give you that visibility. And when you are using it with Spark, you have your agents configured, right? So when data will be processed and updated by your Spark jobs, you will have visibility into how those jobs, how those parameters, how those values are being changed for that property. So maybe if a column in a SQL table is being changed by, let's say, maybe some joins or that, right? You will see within your Marquee UI, right, how that value is being updated, which properties or what functions are changing that. Okay, becomes very useful. Like I said, once you need to debug and identify the root cause when you are seeing when you're running your when you're using that data and you're seeing that data is not what it was expected to be, why it came to that state. Very useful to identify why lineage. Some success stories. This is about a global shipping giant. This is a multi-billion-dollar company based into US, right? And we have been working again with them for a couple of years. They were using an enterprise-supported Apache NiFi platform, but the challenge with that was, though again they had their own team, they could not leverage that strength because the platform was customized, and even though they were able to do changes on open source NiFi, but they were not able to do that of the custom NiFi version. So then they were missing, there was no audit trail, and then most importantly, even with that platform also, you had to do, if you want to push your ETL to the next environment, your next what we call as data flow. So if you are pushing your data flow from one environment to other environment, it was completely manual. Even with that vendor's platform also, you have to export it. There's no easy way to do that. So we built a product, DFM, which does that automated for them now, and they have been able to save almost $1 million using that, that platform itself, from that platform. Okay. This is success story 2. This is about a fintech startup. They were using, they are into Kafka, right? And they were looking for implementing secure access on their Kafka cluster. So we helped them integrate with this Apache Ranger, as well as we built Marquee-based pipeline, so they could see how the data, when it's being transferred through their Kafka pipeline, right? How is that data getting changed? So we built a lineage as well as this access policies using Ranger. All right. Okay. Then I have maybe, I don't know how much time I have. A time check. I think I have got 7 more minutes, right? 10 minutes. Okay. If anybody has any question, I'd like to take that. Otherwise, I have more success stories. I can talk about that. Any questions, anyone? All right, maybe if something comes up, right, feel free to interrupt me again between. So this is success story 3. This was about a state level government which was using Hadoop and Hive and NiFi, again from a vendor, right? And they were running into challenge, right? Their data grow, they had their costs were increasing every day. So they wanted to shift to a open source platform, but at the same time they did not want to lose the governance part. So we helped them select the right tool. We helped them set up the entire cluster. So over here we use Apache Atlas. Apache Atlas gave them along with Apache Ranger. So we had Apache Ranger gave them the security, and Apache Atlas gave them that metadata management, right? So using that, they were today they are almost out of that vendor specific platform they are using. I think their contract is about to end very soon, and they are today they are completely almost onto open source. Okay, this is a huge organization leveraging almost I think petabytes of data. So we help them save almost $500,000. Okay, so just a quick summary, right? Open source can help you save costs. The challenge is you need to have expertise, and you need to do some stitching so that you have the same feature that you will look from an enterprise grade platform. We help you do that because we have been working with such systems for long. We have that expertise. If you want more details, we have a booth also, booth number 10. We are giving goodies also. We are giving swags. We are giving even iPads and AirPods also. So feel free, if you want any more details, come out, meet us. We'll help. If you have any use case which fits within this, we will be really happy to talk to you. Right, and I think that's it from my side. Thank you very much.